Someone gives you 10 compliments today. By tomorrow, you'll have forgotten most of them. But say one person makes an offhand comment about your appearance, your voice, your work. That single sentence will replay in your head for weeks, maybe years. You'll remember the exact words, the tone, the look on their face. Why does one insult outweigh 100 compliments? The answer isn't about you being insecure. It isn't about you being too sensitive. The real reason is far stranger, and it's wired into every human brain on the planet. Think about your own memory for a second. Can you name 3 compliments you received last month? Most people struggle. Now try this. Can you name an insult someone gave you 5 years ago, 10 years ago? For most people, that memory arrives instantly, fully formed, word for word. Your brain didn't choose to keep it. It filed that insult away as critical information, the same way it files away the location of a fire exit. In 2001, psychologist Roy Baumeister published a paper with a title that became famous in psychology circles. Bad is stronger than good. Baumeister and his colleagues reviewed decades of research across relationships, money, health, and memory. In every domain, the pattern repeated. Losing money hurts more than gaining the same amount feels good. A single bad interaction can undo dozens of good ones. Negative information simply weighs more than positive information in every measurable sense. This isn't a flaw in your thinking, it's a feature that kept your ancestors alive. Imagine 2 early humans walking through the same stretch of forest. One remembers in vivid detail every plant that tasted sweet. The other remembers in vivid detail every plant that made them sick. Which one survives the next winter? The one who forgot a nice berry lost nothing. The one who forgot a poisonous root lost everything. Your brain isn't built to maximize your happiness. It's built to keep you alive long enough to pass on your genes. And staying alive has always depended more on avoiding danger than on collecting pleasure. So when someone insults you, your brain doesn't file it under hurt feelings. It files it under threat. A threat to your social standing, a threat to your reputation, a threat to your place in the group. For most of human history, being cast out of your tribe wasn't an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. No tools, no protection, no shared food. Alone in the wilderness, a human being rarely lasted long. So your brain evolved to treat social rejection with the same urgency as physical danger. That's why an insult can trigger the same fight or flight response as a snake in the grass. Your heart rate rises, your stomach tightens. Your mind loops the moment over and over, searching for a way to undo it. Compliments trigger no such alarm. A compliment tells your brain, you are safe here for now. And safety, to a survival machine, is simply the absence of a problem to solve. There's nothing urgent to remember, so your brain doesn't bother storing it with much detail. It's the psychological equivalent of a smoke detector. It stays completely silent when everything is fine. It only screams when something might be wrong. Psychologist Paul Rosen took this idea further. In his research on what he called negativity dominance, Rosen showed that negative events aren't just remembered more. They're processed as more real, more significant, and more informative than positive events of the same size. Mix 1 cockroach into a bowl of cherries, and people won't eat the cherries. Mix 1 perfect cherry into a bowl of cockroaches, and nobody expects that to make the bowl appealing. Bad in the human mind contaminates. Good simply exists alongside whatever else is happening. You can see the same pattern in your closest relationships. Marriage researcher John Gottman spent years observing couples in his lab, tracking their conversations down to the smallest gesture. He found something remarkably consistent. Stable, happy couples maintained a ratio of roughly 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction. Not 2 to 1, not even 3 to 1, 5 to 1. Drop below that ratio, and relationships started to break down. 1 critical comment didn't just cancel out 1 kind comment. It took 5 kind comments just to restore the balance. Gottman could predict, with striking accuracy, which couples would eventually divorce, simply by counting how often negativity outweighed positivity in a single 10-minute conversation. Now think about what this means for your own life. Every group chat, every meeting, every family dinner, you're not just registering nice moments and mean moments as equal and opposite. Your brain is quietly running a math problem, and the negative numbers count for far more than the positive ones. A single sarcastic comment from a coworker can erase a week of friendly small talk. One disappointed look from a parent can outweigh a lifetime of proud ones. This isn't weakness. It's an ancient survival calculation running silently in the background of your mind, whether you asked for it or not. Here's where it gets stranger. This bias doesn't just affect what you remember, it shapes what you believe about yourself. If you've ever replayed an embarrassing moment from years ago while lying awake at night, you already know this. Your brain isn't torturing you randomly. It's running a search. It's asking, was there a threat here I still need to learn from? Did I miss a warning sign about this person, this group, this situation? The insult becomes a data point your mind refuses to let go of because somewhere deep in its ancient wiring, it believes that data point might save your life one day. Economist and psychologist Daniel Kahneman found a similar pattern in decision-making, far from anything about social relationships. In his research on what he called loss aversion, Kahneman showed that people feel the pain of losing money roughly twice as strongly as they feel the pleasure of gaining the same amount. Losing $100 doesn't just feel bad. It feels roughly twice as bad as finding $100 feels good. The math isn't equal. It was never designed to be equal across money, relationships, and memory. The same rule keeps appearing. Losses count more than gains. Threats count more than comforts. Bad counts more than good. So what do you do with a brain that's wired this way? You can't switch off millions of years of evolution with a single afternoon of positive thinking, but you can understand the mechanism well enough to stop mistaking it for the truth. When an old insult surfaces in your mind at 3 in the morning, that isn't proof that the insult was accurate. It's proof that your brain classified it as a threat, and threats get filed in permanent storage. The compliments you forgot weren't unimportant. They were simply filed as safe, and safe things don't need to be remembered in detail to keep you alive. Some researchers now suggest a deliberate counterbalance, echoing Gottman's ratio. If it takes roughly 5 positive experiences to offset 1 negative one, then the goal isn't to avoid criticism altogether. That's impossible, and trying only makes the fear of criticism louder. The goal is to intentionally register the good moments with the same attention you automatically give the bad ones, not by forcing false positivity, but by noticing, on purpose, the small win, the kind word, the moment that went right. Your brain won't do this step for you. It has to be a choice, made again and again, until it becomes something closer to a habit. Think back to the compliments and insults from the start. You weren't imagining that imbalance. It was never in your head as a flaw or a weakness or an overreaction. It was in your biology, placed there by ancestors who survived long enough to hand you the same wiring. The next time an old insult resurfaces uninvited, you don't have to fight it, and you don't have to believe it either. You can simply recognize it for what it is. Not truth, just an alarm bell your brain refuses to turn off, still ringing for a danger that most of the time has already passed.